Divine revelation, 3 miraculous signs confirm your supernatural quantum leap is here. In the heart of a quaint rural village, a storm of grief twisted through the air, heavy and thick as the clouds above. Miriam, a devoted mother of 3, clutched her rosary tightly, the cool beads grounding her amidst the chaotic waves of despair that crashed around her. Just days after an unimaginable tragedy, the gathering at the church felt both intimate and isolating, a sleepy hamlet ignited by whispers of hope, flickering like the candles around them. The pastor's voice trembled, urging the congregation to hold on to their faith. And yet, within Miriam's heart, doubt stirred like a tempest. With every flicker of the lamp, it seemed as if something celestial was trying to catch her eye. She closed her eyes, whispering fervent prayers to St. Jude, the keeper of lost causes. "Guide me, please," she implored, yearning for clarity, for signs. Suddenly, a brilliant shaft of light pierced through the looming trees, illuminating a patch of wildflowers that danced as if beckoning her closer. The villagers gasped, pointing in awe. Miriam's heart leapt. Was it merely a play of the heavens, or something transcendent? Murmurs circulated of miraculous healings, astonishing visions, and unexplainable occurrences. Each story fanned the flames of faith amidst collective despair. What if, just maybe, they were on the brink of witnessing a divine unraveling? Before we continue, I need to tell you about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. But even as hope swelled within the villagers like a collective breath, a respected leader stood up, his brow furrowed. "These are mere coincidences," he declared, challenging the newfound excitement, his voice cutting through the murmurs of the crowd. Miriam felt the tension tighten around her. How could she reconcile the joy of miracles with such stark skepticism? The weight of expectation pinned her to the floor, and she imagined disappointing her family, her friends, the very community she loved. That night, sleep eluded her, her heart in turmoil as tears streamed down her cheeks. Just as the darkness threatened to consume her, a celestial vision illuminated her mind. Scripture danced before her, touching her soul like a whisper of the divine. "You are part of a grander plan," it seemed to say. A spark ignited. She was not simply a bystander. It was her moment to stand up, to gather her neighbors, to share the revelation, to weave their doubts into a tapestry of faith. Driven by something greater, she found her voice. The next day, as she stood in the center of the church, her words tore through the silence, igniting a revival. "This is our chance. The signs are not random, they are a call to action. Together, we are invited to leap into faith." Excitement rippled through the congregation as they rallied around her. But as joy swirled about them like the rich scent of blooming wildflowers, questions loomed large in Miriam's heart. Was this divine intervention, or were they merely lost souls creating a fantasy out of fear? As she whispered her nightly prayers, enveloped in the weight of uncertainty, a familiar stirring began to resonate within. Perhaps this was just the beginning. What more lay ahead, just beyond their understanding, waiting to be uncovered? With each passing day, the fervor in the village grew, embracing intentions that danced as vibrantly as the flowers that had first caught Miriam's eye. Each morning brought the villagers to the church with renewed anticipation. They gathered in clusters, discreet conversations buzzing, filled with a blend of skepticism and hope. Yet, Miriam, emboldened by her previous revelation, felt a growing anticipation, a divine current running through her veins. The pastor's voice rang true each Sunday, echoing verses of miracles and faith. But it was not just his comforting words that stirred hearts. There were tangible signs emerging week after week. A woman who once struggled to walk stood tall, her legs straightened after fervent prayers, declaring, "I felt it, an energy flowed through me." The children began to see visions in their dreams, filled with angels and light, leaving parents both amazed and puzzled. Each new miracle amplified the communal spirit, an unbreakable chain of faith woven by shared experiences. Miriam took it upon herself to encourage gatherings, forming small prayer circles in homes across the village. They shared stories, offered prayers, and meditated in silence, each meeting ending with a chorus of heartfelt affirmations. "We are here, we are together, we are loved," became their mantra. During one such gathering at Miriam's home, the atmosphere crackled with anticipation as one of the oldest villagers, Granny Eliza, cleared her throat for attention. The room fell silent. With age-lined hands shaking slightly, she spoke of a vision she had one night, glimpses of the village bathed in heavenly light, with the cries of joyous laughter ringing through the air. "I believe we are being called, my dear friends," she said slowly, her eyes glimmering with sincerity. "The signs are not just for us to see, they are for us to act upon." Miriam felt something stir deep within her spirit. "What do we do, then?" she asked, the yearning in her heart palpable. Granny Eliza smiled warmly. "We share love, we give what we can, and we spread our faith beyond these walls." The exchange sparked an idea in Miriam. Perhaps their community was destined for something far greater than they could dream. They were not just witnesses to miracles, they were to be the facilitators of God's light in the world. The following week, holding on to the words of Granny Eliza, Miriam organized a day of service, inviting everyone to not only come together but to help those in greater need beyond the confines of their village. They baked bread, gathered clothes, and shared their time with the elderly and lonely, spreading warmth and kindness wherever they went. As the day unfolded, the villagers felt an overwhelming sense of unity and love. They were no longer just a group bound by tragedy, they were a community lifted by hope and purpose. Songs of joy flowed through the air as laughter echoed far and wide. But as the sun dipped below the horizon and the last of the candles flickered, Miriam found herself alone, staring at the dying light. A gentle whisper curled through her thoughts, hinting at something more profound. "Was this it, Lord?" she pondered, feeling a stirring in her heart. A question was surfacing, cloaked in divine mystery. What greater adventure lies ahead for us? Unbeknownst to Miriam, change was just on the horizon, poised to challenge her newfound faith and allow her to discover a strength she never knew existed. How would the village respond when the call deepened, drawing them into the unexpected realms of faith? As dawn broke over the village, the air was crisp and imbued with an electric anticipation. The warmth of the morning sun spilled over rooftops, painting the landscape in hues of gold, as if the heavens themselves were witnessing the light growing within the heart of the community. Miriam, still reeling from her thoughts the night before, felt a gentle nudging in her spirit. It was as if the very essence of hope was trying to weave its way into her being, guiding her towards something unseen but palpably felt. She gathered her thoughts, praying for clarity and strength, her fingers tracing the edges of the old wooden table that had hosted countless heartfelt conversations. "Lord, what do you wish for us to discover today?" she whispered, allowing the question to hover in the sacred silence. Meanwhile, the villagers began to gather again. More than just a number, they brought their stories, their hearts, their miracles. The previous day's service project had stirred something profound within each of them, igniting a flame of purpose that none could ignore. Laughter echoed down the narrow streets as clusters of families ambled to the church, eager to share their experiences since that transformative day. As they entered, a new vibration filled the air. It was not merely the excitement of gathering together, it was deeper, richer, a shared awareness that they were on the brink of something extraordinary. Miriam could sense it. Children darted about, their innocent giggles a beautiful echo of the joy stirring in adults' hearts. Once inside, Pastor Samuel stepped forward, his eyes gleaming with fervor. "My beloved friends, gather close," he called, raising his arms wide as though embracing each of them. "Today, we are not merely here to receive but to share a moment of divine encounter. The Lord has laid before us 3 signs, a trilogy of blessings waiting to unfold in our lives." Miriam's heart raced, each pulse echoing like a drum of faith resounding in the sanctuary. The pastor spoke with clarity and conviction, his voice steady like a lighthouse guiding them through the dense fog of uncertainty. He began with a story of an old man who lived in an adjacent village, known only to a few. Having been bedridden for years, he saw no visitors, nor did he have the company to share warm moments with. But after hearing of their acts of love, he awoke, having dreamt of a radiant light calling to him, urging him to rise. With the second sign, he had done more. He went out among the people, sharing his wisdom and love, gathering warmth from those who visited him. The congregation erupted in murmurs, eyes gleaming with wonder. Could this be our call? Miriam murmured, wrapping her fingers around the small wooden cross she wore around her neck, finding solace in its familiar form. The second sign came as an unexpected twist. A local merchant, usually consumed by greed, had responded to their fervent prayers by donating all her unsold goods to families in need, feeling an urge she could not suppress. The community responded in kind, a wave of gratitude flowing as they yielded to the love blossoming within them. Lastly, Pastor Samuel proclaimed, "Remember the children are innocent visionaries. They saw angels in their dreams, declaring promises of peace. Each report in their hearts began to manifest in our lives, showing what divine love looks like in action." Encouraged by this, the villagers began to talk amongst themselves, excitement palpable in the air. For the first time, they were the instruments of miracles, conduits of God's love. Miriam felt a stirring within. A question of the unknown tugged at her heart. "What next, Lord?" she whispered, feeling the weight of potential upon her. Yet as the congregation began to scheme and dream of fresh missions, a quiet rumble echoed from the back of the church. An uninvited storm seemed to gather, like darkened clouds threatening their joyful spirits. What could this foreboding presence mean for their newly ignited faith? Would it be a challenge or a chance to prove their dedication to the divine? The adventure was just beginning. As the murmurs of excitement filled the church, the gentle rumble from the back grew louder. It was an unsettling sound, almost like a distant thunderstorm, yet it resonated deeply within the hearts of the villagers. For a moment, the air thickened with anxiety, and the vibrant aura of hope felt like it was being tested. Miriam turned toward the source of the noise, her palms clammy and her heart racing as she remained anchored in prayer. "Lord, tell us what this means. Is this a sign?" she breathed, seeking assurance in the growing uncertainty. Pastor Samuel, sensing the shift in mood, raised his hand to still the crowd. "Let us not be disheartened, dear friends. Sometimes storms come to cleanse and prepare us for greater wonders." With a steady gaze, he scanned the congregation, his eyes filled with both compassion and resolve. "Let us invite the Spirit to guide us through this." The villagers collectively bowed their heads, a murmur of collective prayer rising like incense toward heaven. The sound of their voices entwined, creating a melody of faith that cut through the tension. Miriam felt the familiar warmth of solace begin to blanket her, easing her troubled heart. She could feel others around her drawn into the sanctuary of shared belief. Suddenly, against the backdrop of hushed prayer, a bright light flickered at the front windows, pushing back the darkness discreetly lurking outside. The beam easily pierced through the clouds, streaming in and scattering its glow over the gathered souls within the church. Whispers of awe rippled through the crowd, as each face turned toward the window, illuminated with a heavenly radiance. "Look!" someone exclaimed, pointing upwards. "The sky is changing." As the villagers gazed in wonder, colors danced across the panes, vivid shades of blue and gold, intermingling in a symphony of light. It was a deliberate reminder that even in their darkest moments, the divine was always with them, casting shadows away. The rumble subdued, replaced instead with silence, as if the atmosphere itself was present in worship. Miriam felt the stirrings in her heart intensify. Was this the third sign awaited by Pastor Samuel? She clutched her wooden cross tighter, and the warmth within ignited a flicker of hope. Barely above a whisper, she managed to say, "Lord, do you speak to us in this light? What do you wish for us to see?" In that moment, a gentle breeze flowed into the church, almost as if a warm embrace was sweeping over them. A few flowers on the altar bowed gracefully, and the scent of blooming jasmine filled the air, mingling with the musk of wood and thyme. Pastor Samuel smiled, his eyes glistening with conviction as he resumed speaking. "The Lord sees us," he proclaimed, his voice growing laced with anointed strength. "The storm is here not to extinguish our fire but to fuel it. With that simple statement, a wave of applause surged through the church. Hands clapped, feet stomped, and laughter rang with renewed urgency. We are called to be a beacon of hope. He continued passionately. Miriam joined in laughter, her spirit lifting as the energy coursed through her, but still a shadow of inquiry lingered. Beneath the collective joy, she felt an elusive tension, a divine mystery still unfolding. What did this radiant light mean for their village? What challenges would they face ahead, now that they had tasted the sweet nectar of divine possibility? As the service continued, nourishment for their spirits layered in consistency, her heart fluttered with expectations of miracles yet to reveal themselves. With each shared story, prayer, and song, was it leading them toward yet another divine reunion? The congregation remained elated, their hearts echoing together, yet Miriam could not shake the sense that a new chapter was just on the horizon, waiting to be written. What transformation awaited them beyond this moment, glowing just out of reach, and as the sun set, casting long shadows, she felt the whisper of destiny pulling at her heart. Would they rise together against any storm that dared to loom? Miriam stood there, caught in the moment's magic, as the vibrant colors faded into a gentle twilight. The elation of the congregation wrapped around her like a warm blanket, yet the questions in her heart stirred just beneath the surface. She couldn't ignore the sense that something profound was brewing just below the horizon of their lives. As the final worship song faded, Pastor Samuel took a deep breath, his gaze resting on the villagers. "The Lord is preparing us for something big," he declared, a ripple of excitement pulsing through the room. "But we must anchor ourselves in faith. Sometimes, great challenges arise just before a remarkable shift." Miriam felt the weight of his words. She had watched her village struggle, dealt with loss and hardship that had stretched their spirits thin. Would they be up for the extraordinary task ahead? She looked around, meeting the glances of her fellow parishioners. Their faces, illuminated by the remnants of light streaming through the windows, showed a mosaic of hope and uncertainty. "Let us come together this week," Pastor Samuel continued, his voice steady, "for a prayer vigil. We will seek clarity in the depths of our hearts." He pointed toward the altar. "There, we will lay our burdens down and let the divine show us our path." A hushed agreement swept through the crowd, a collective nod of understanding. Miriam's heart swelled with desire. She knew this vigil would be a turning point. But she wondered, what if God revealed something they weren't ready for? As the congregation began to disperse, she lingered, her feet planted firmly on the worn pew. The fresh scent of jasmine clung stubbornly, as did the sensation of expectation palpable in the air. She walked closer to the altar, kneeling and placing her hands atop the wood, feeling its coolness grounding her thoughts. "Lord, what lies ahead?" she whispered, overwhelmed by the uncertainty. "Show us how to embrace your will. Give us strength for what is to come." The silence stretched, enveloping her in contemplation. She felt an inexplicable warmth wrapping around her heart, a gentle whisper against her spirit, as if something magnificent was about to break through the clouds. She took a deep breath, savoring the jasmine that lingered, mixed with the heartfelt prayers left at the feet of the altar. Just then, she noticed a flicker of light at the edge of the altar. A small candle flickered, held by the hand of an unseen presence. Thick shadows began to dance around its flame, weaving a tapestry of flickering shapes that seemed to tell stories long forgotten. Miriam's pulse quickened at this tender sight. Was this another sign? "What do you want to reveal?" she pondered, her heart racing with curiosity. Around her, the lingering echoes of prayer morphed into vibrant visions of the village, of people coming together, united in purpose. "Do we dare dream big?" she mused aloud, her voice reflecting the miracles her heart craved. Transformation awaited them, she sensed it deep within, yet the path remained obscured. Outside, the gentle breeze resumed its playful dance, whispering secrets only the faithful would understand. The urgency of the moment pressed against her soul, like a countdown to the glorious unknown. Miriam stood, heart aflame with divine possibility, yet trembling before the sacred unknown. Could this truly be the beginning of our greatest journey? She thought, glancing once more at the fiery flame of the candle. As she exited the church, the night sky enveloped her like a soft embrace, and her spirit soared. The events to come hovered on the edge of her consciousness, stirring anticipation in waves of hope, yet challenges laid in the shadows of uncertainty. What awaited them in the days to come would take courage, faith, and unity. But as fate would have it, it was the bonds of love and spirit that would guide them toward whatever awaited on the horizon of the unfolding mystery. Miriam's heart raced as she stepped outside, the cool night air refreshing her spirit. The stars twinkled like scattered diamonds across a velvet sky, each one a whisper of promise. She took a moment, gazing upward, feeling overwhelmed by the grandeur of it all. What is our place in this divine plan? She wondered aloud, her breath visible in the crisp air as it mingled with her longing. The villagers were slowly dispersing, laughter breaking the tension like bubbles rising to the surface. Yet, the hum of their chatter somehow echoed with an awareness or recognition that change was approaching. As she strolled through the path leading back to her home, she spotted gentle glimmers in the surroundings, like breadcrumbs in the dark, guiding her steps toward the unknown. "Miriam!" came a familiar voice, pulling her attention. It was Sarah, her dear friend, her bright eyes sparkling with enthusiasm. "Did you feel it tonight? The spirit is moving." "Oh, absolutely," Miriam breathed, the weight of the vigil still upon her. "But what does it all mean?" "Trust the process," Sarah replied, her hands dancing in excitement. "Pastor's words ignited something deep within me. I can feel it in my bones. We are destined for something extraordinary." Miriam smiled, acknowledging the truth in Sarah's enthusiasm. Flickers of hope ignited in her heart, and as they walked together, it grew brighter. They shared stories of faith, dreams, and visions that swirled in their minds. Each word became an offering of encouragement, building their faith brick by brick. As they approached their village's square, a small group had gathered, voices rising in song. The melodies wove around them, stitching unity into the cool night. Miriam reached for Sarah's hand, feeling the collective strength they could hold together. "This is how we prepare," she thought, "through prayer and song, we open the door to divine revelation." Suddenly, a hush fell over the crowd. In the center of the square, an ancient oak tree stood majestic and still, its limbs holding a volume of wisdom. A gentle breeze rippled through the leaves, and in that moment, the air thickened with an unexplainable energy. Everyone's hearts surged with expectation. Could this be the moment that God would unveil what was hidden? "Look!" someone gasped, pointing toward the tree. A soft glow emerged, illuminating the trunk, spiraling upwards like fireflies dancing in the night. The villagers held their breaths, their eyes wide, reflecting the vibrant light. Miriam stepped forward, drawn by the warmth radiating from the tree. The flickering flames of the candle from the altar earlier flickered back to her mind. "What is happening?" she breathed, both fearful and full of awe. "God is speaking," Sarah whispered, clasping Miriam's hand tighter. "He is revealing his presence." Just as quickly as it began, the glow exploded into a cascade of shimmering colors, forming shapes that danced before their eyes. Spirits intertwined, images of opportunity, challenges, and transformation flew past them like visions pulling the veil aside. It was the promise of unity, but within it lay a call to courage. Miriam felt her heart pounding. The collective whisper in her ear stilled her thoughts as she murmured, "We must rise up, together." The glow flickered once, then dimmed as if retreating into the fabric of the universe, leaving the villagers standing in breathless wonder. What did this all mean? As the crowd broke into excited murmurs, anticipation hung in the air like dew on a summer morning. As the night deepened, Miriam knew they faced a crossroad. They could either step boldly into this new calling or shrink back into fear. What must we do next? She prayed silently, seeking divine guidance, her spirit vibrating with urgency. In that moment, the promise of their journey stretched before her, reflecting the uncertainty and excitement wrapped within her. What awaited their small village on this journey of faith? Tomorrow would reveal the next step. Would they be ready to embrace it? As the first light of dawn stretched over the horizon, a gentle warmth enveloped the village. Miriam awoke with a spark of anticipation flickering in her heart. The glow of the oak tree still lingered in her mind like a vivid dream, a promise echoing in her spirit. She dressed quickly, her thoughts racing. Today was the day God would reveal the next step on their journey. Outside, the air was rich with the scent of dew-kissed earth. She joined Sarah at the edge of the square, where clusters of villagers began to gather. Laughter mixed with murmurs of hope flowed through the crowd. Their excitement was palpable, the atmosphere thick with expectancy. "Good morning, Miriam." Sarah greeted, her eyes shining with joy. "Can you feel it? Something remarkable is happening." Miriam nodded, her heart swelling. "I feel it too. It's like the air itself is charged with energy." As they joined the rest of the villagers, Pastor Eli stood beneath the oak tree, his presence commanding yet gentle. He welcomed everyone with a warm smile and raised his hands. A hush fell over the crowd, as if the very creation held its breath in reverence. "Dear friends," he began, his voice steady and rich, "last night, we witnessed something extraordinary. The light and color were not mere visions but a divine invitation. God seeks to guide us, to lead us into new blessings that will change our lives and this village forever. Are you ready?" A murmur of agreement swelled from the gathered crowd. Miriam felt the energy in their words, a heartbeat of unity thrumming together. "We may not know every detail of our journey," Pastor Eli continued, "but we must trust that God is laying down a path before us. Just as the oak has stood through the storms of time, we too shall stand strong in faith. Today, I ask you to seek God earnestly. Pray for clarity, for guidance, for divine signs." Miriam closed her eyes and intertwined her fingers, whispering fervent prayers. "Lord, show me the way. Ignite courage in our hearts." As the prayer rose above their heads, a rustle swept through the branches of the oak. Leaves fluttered as if carried by an unseen wind. The crowd gasped, and Miriam opened her eyes. What was coming next? In an instant, the sky darkened slightly, a cloud gathering overhead. It was not threatening, rather, it felt sacred. A singular ray of sunlight broke through the clouds, illuminating the ground in front of the oak. The villagers gasped as they felt a fresh wind, a unique presence swirling around them. "Look!" Someone shouted again, pointing excitedly towards the light. A dove descended, soaring down through the brightness, its wings radiant against the backdrop of the sky. It landed softly on Pastor Eli's shoulder. Just as the Spirit rested upon Jesus, Pastor Eli proclaimed, "He rests upon us today." This is a sign of peace, a call to action. We must move forward together, emboldened by His Spirit. Miriam felt a wave of peace wash over her. This was not just a moment, it was a turning point. Every heartbeat echoed a reminder of God's presence, guiding them. "Let us mark this day," Sarah shouted, her fervor igniting their spirits even more. "We can do this together." The crowd erupted in cheers and songs, their voices rising high, lifting hope into the heavens. Joy and excitement cascaded through them. Yet within the excitement, a deeper current flowed, a reminder of the weight of their calling. Miriam stood amidst the throng, her heart swelling with gratitude and determination. They were on the verge of something beautiful and transformative, yet uncertainty still lingered. What would this new path demand from us? She pondered, the question resting heavily on her heart. As the sun climbed higher in the sky, illuminating the square in a golden glow, they could sense the dawn of a new era unfolding before them. Would they be able to embrace the journey ahead, to welcome whatever God had in store? The air hummed with both exhilaration and nervousness, and they sensed an impending challenge mingled with breathtaking opportunities. Would they rise to meet the call, hand in hand? With hope ignited, Miriam knew one truth: they were destined to discover great revelations together. What would be unveiled next as they stepped boldly forward into the unknown? As the villagers rejoiced, their hearts entwined in a shared song of faith, Pastor Eli felt the stirring of something extraordinary building within them. He lifted his hand, calling for their attention once more. "Friends, the wind of the Spirit is blowing among us." His voice carried strength that echoed in the stillness. But let us not forget the responsibility that comes with such promises. For every blessing, God asks us to respond. What shall our answer be? A ripple of energy coursed through the crowd. Miriam sensed it, her heartbeat sinking with the rising anticipation. Eyes looked at one another, questioning and daring. How would they respond? Let's not rush, cried Sarah, stepping forward, vibrant and earnest. Let us seek deeper understanding, seeking not just what we want, but what God desires. A moment of stillness to listen. The villagers fell silent. The hum of their excitement faded, replaced by the soft rustling of the oak leaves, now shimmering in the light. A sacred hush blanketed the square. In that stillness, Miriam felt the weight of the moment, a thin veil that separated the earthly from the divine. She closed her eyes again, this time focusing on the pulse of her surroundings. The whispers of the wind danced through her hair, carrying the fragrance of blossoms, sweet and light. She felt the comforting presence wrap around her, urging her soul to surrender. Speak, Lord. I am listening, she breathed. Moments stretched, and then, gently, a voice stirred in her spirit. It wasn't loud or forceful, but a soft whisper infused with warmth. Trust in the path I lay. Your hesitation is a step towards understanding. Tears pricked at the corners of her eyes as Miriam opened her heart. Faith wasn't just a feeling, it was a decision, an anchor in the storm. She felt inspired to share, needing the community to grasp this understanding. I believe, she began, her voice off-tune yet sincere. Courage doesn't mean absence of fear, but faithful action regardless of it. If we embrace our uncertainties together, we will fulfill His purposes. Encouraged by her words, others began to share their thoughts, their fears, and their hopes. The village became a tapestry woven with individual threads, confessions of worry, aspirations for their future, and the longing for His guidance. As they prayed together, something magnificent happened. The dove perched on Pastor Eli's shoulder cooed softly, and then with a sudden flurry of wings, took flight. It soared above their heads, then dove down, a tangible sign of divine presence encompassing them. The villagers watched in awe, gasps escaping their lips as the dove circled back and landed gently on a child's finger. It is a wonder. A voice declared. A message from God, through His creatures. With every heartbeat, Miriam felt the faith within her grow, intertwining with the spirit of every soul around her. This moment was becoming more than a gathering, it was a movement, a collective yearning for His will. As the day lightened fully, they all stood in a circle around the oak, hands joined together, grounding their individual faith into one powerful prayer. Lord, guide us. Take our fears and lead us into your light. And as they prayed, a sudden rush of wind swept through them, lifting their spirits high. The glory of the moment felt electric, as a brilliant beam of golden sunlight broke through the clouds once more, bathing the entire square in warmth, but amid all the joy, a realization crept into Miriam's heart, a hint of doubt whispered through the elation. What would the next steps require? More than readiness, would they be able to carry the weight of this divine calling? With the sun now at its zenith, shining brightly, Miriam glanced forward, her spirit still tinged with anticipation. The mystery remained, and they stood on the threshold of a great venture. A new revelation beckoned. What lies beyond this moment, she wondered, as the congregation turned their faces to the heavens, waiting on the next divine sign. As the golden rays of the sun spilled warmth across the square, the villagers remained in that sacred circle, their hearts suspended between hope and uncertainty. Miriam could see the faces of her friends filled with earnest faith, yet tinged with the same questions fluttering in her own heart. What lies ahead, Lord? She whispered again, her breath laced with longing. Show us the way. Pastor Eli, sensing the weight of the moment, spoke softly yet powerfully. We must be a united front, ready to follow wherever He leads. Change is upon us, and with it comes His promise of guidance. Lift your eyes, for the heavens are proclaiming His intentions. Suddenly, the sky above stirred, as if acknowledging His words. A curious wind puffed around them, stirring their spirit and drawing their attention upward. The clouds shifted, parting slightly to reveal the deep azure. In the midst of it, a brilliant shimmer dazzled their eyes. "What?" gasped Sarah, pointing. High above, a radiant light began to pulse, like a heartbeat. It flickered and danced, weaving through the clouds, casting an ethereal glow. The villagers gasped, a sense of awe washed over them. Miriam's heart raced. "Is this the sign we've been waiting for?" she thought, clutching her hands tighter. "Be still," Pastor Eli urged, raising his arm again. "Let us not move in haste. We are here to observe and reflect. The Lord speaks through his wonders." The glow brightened, and from the light, they could discern shapes forming. Images emerged, figures of light, each one distinct, each one a whisper of divine purpose. One figure turned, its face like morning light, shining with warmth and compassion, and it seemed to gaze upon them, wrapping them in tranquility. Miriam felt tears flow unbidden. Each image, each glimmer, told a story of hope and faith, a tapestry spun of love. "Lord, what do you ask of us?" she murmured. As if in answer, the brilliance shifted into three distinct lights, each pulsating with a different hue. One shone golden, radiant with warmth, symbolizing abundance. The second glimmered a deep, tranquil blue, reflecting calm amidst chaos. The third radiated a vibrant green, bursting with life and potential. Miriam felt these colors wash over her spirit, they ignited something deep within. "Three miracles," Pastor Eli declared, his voice rising. "He shows us abundance, calmness, and life. Can we not claim these gifts for ourselves and our community?" The villagers nodded, their eyes wide, hearts ignited as they embraced the essence of each sign. "I choose abundance," shouted a voice, and another echoed, "I choose calm." The unity erupted into a chorus of affirmations, bolstered by the warmth of shared conviction. Miriam felt emboldened, her own heart resonating with those around her. "Together, we shall receive these signs. We embrace his promise and step into the new." Suddenly, the lights above swirled, the hues merging, becoming blindingly bright. A hush of anticipation filled the square, as if the very universe held its breath. Miriam held her heart close, spirit eager, yet tethered by the weight of the unknown. "What must we do now?" she contemplated, glancing at the illuminated sky. The shimmering gradient seemed to pulse with life, offering hope, but shadowed by the uncertainty of the journey ahead. The villagers looked at one another with recognition, their shared faith forged an unbreakable bond. Yet, one question loomed within the collective heart: would they have the courage to embrace the transformation that awaited? As silence enveloped them, a gentle breeze caressed their faces. In that moment, they knew they stood at the brink of something profound. What will our next step reveal? Miriam pondered, aware that the signs were just the beginning of their holy adventure. Each breath became an offering, a whisper to the heavens, longing for a deeper revelation. As the brilliance above them swirled and merged into one magnificent light, the villagers stood only inches apart, their hearts pulsing in sync. The atmosphere thickened with anticipation, as if the heavens themselves were poised to reveal their secret. Miriam's heart raced with both expectation and trepidation. What did it mean to embrace abundance, calm, and life? She felt the echo of their previous prayers guiding her spirit forward. "Together." Pastor Eli called, his voice like thunder over the clouds. "We rise. These signs show us not just what we might receive but what we must give." The town square, now alive with vibrant energy, sparked a collective response. "We shall share. We shall support," cried Sarah, raising her hands to the sky, as murmurs swelled into declarations of unity. Each villager found their voice one by one echoing commitments to support each other, to share love, and spread the blessings they longed to receive. Miriam felt the potent force of their togetherness, and her heart shifted and soared. They weren't just receiving the miracles, they were igniting the divine within. She raised her head toward the sky, the warmth of the sun and the coolness of the wind colliding upon her face as tears of joy spilled down her cheeks. "Thank you, Lord," she whispered, feeling a deeper understanding envelop her soul. They weren't alone. They never had been. The whole of creation was cheering them on. As the villagers began to chant and sing in harmony, the golden light of the morning now flooded into their midst, illuminating their resolve with warmth and grace. It was transforming, shifting from mere signs to action. We need to create, to act. Miriam shouted, her voice cutting through lingering doubts. Let us plan a festival. A day to bring everyone together. Not just for us but to invite others into this circle of love. Excitement rippled through the gathering, the thought igniting fervor once more. They envisioned a celebration, sharing food, laughter, and faith, drawing families from surrounding areas to witness the miracles and hear the testimonies of their journey, but amid the excitement, a shadow flickered in the corner of Miriam's heart. Would the world accept this awakening? The challenge was as daunting as it was exhilarating. Lord, give us clarity and courage for any obstacles we may face, she breathed again, trusting that this was part of the journey. As they began crafting their plans, intertwining their dreams and resources, an unbidden weight still clung to her heart. A quiet voice whispered, reminding her of the storm that had once loomed over their town. How will we sustain this light? She pondered. What if we face doubt from those who do not understand? Pastor Eli sensed it as well. Stepping forward, he spoke with the authority of one who had faced the tempests of life. We stand firm, dear family. Challenges will come, yes. Storms may loom. But remember, the light we now hold is not our own. It is a gift to be shared, pouring forth from divine abundance. Miriam cast glances around the square. This was more than just talk. Each villager stood with passionate determination, a newfound fire glowing in their eyes. They would uplift one another. They would grow stronger together. As that first evening of planning transformed into a whirlwind of joy and creativity, the festival began to take shape. They gathered under the oak tree, sketching out foods to prepare, games to share, songs to sing. Each idea flew toward the heavens like a fragrance, enticing and inviting blessings to flow. Days turned into nights, their joyous efforts blossoming into a tangible reality. As they basked in both unity and purpose, an unshakable peace settled over Miriam. They were paving the way for something extraordinary, intertwining miracles and love in every thread. On the day of the festival, the sun kissed the rooftops, laughter filled the air, and the aroma of baked goods wafted sweet music through the village. The oak tree stood as a silent witness, adorned with flowers and twinkling lights, a symbol of the love that bound them all. People from nearby villages arrived, drawn by whispers of a divine gathering. As the celebrations began, Miriam stepped back to take it all in. Laughter blossomed, hearts opened, and with each smile exchanged, the light of faith grew brighter. Welcome, friends. Come share in our journey. She called out, her voice mingling with the music. Eyes sparkled, children danced, and adults were welcomed. The beauty of collective faith woven into a tapestry of shared experience radiated from them all. As night fell, the stars glimmered overhead, twinkling brighter than ever. In that moment, Miriam knew, without a doubt, they had transformed darkness into a beacon of hope. It wasn't merely about the festivities, it was about sharing the divine light within. Here we are, Lord. She exclaimed within her heart. Show us what lies ahead, ever guiding us forward. With each step closer to the end of that transformative day, congregants united under the oak tree, strumming guitars, their voices lifted in praise, echoing back to the heavens. A new chapter had begun, and with it, a certainty, they could face any storm, armed with love and the promise of God as boundless grace. The celebration would not merely be a moment, it would ripple endlessly, transforming lives in ways yet unseen. Miriam smiled, overflowing with the sweetness of faith, knowing they would continue to embrace every challenge, each sign, committed to shining their light, and in the heart of their community their souls intertwined in mission. New miracles awaited, shimmering on the horizon. Together they were no longer afraid. They had answered the divine call and chosen to leap forward in faith. This was their moment. This was just the beginning. Miriam stepped into the crowd of her beloved village, feeling the embrace of warmth from her community. Let us continue to share. Let us spread this light into every corner of our world. She called, embodying the divine transformation taking root in their hearts. As the last notes echoed into silence, they knew. This was a journey of faith, forever unfolding before them. And with that, collective hearts lifted in renewed fervor, the flicker of hope shining brighter than ever before. Remember, dear reader, for in our journey of faith, miracles await. If you felt this message resonate, you need to subscribe right now to this channel. Don't wait even one more second. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm, and comment below your reactions and testimonies. Let's amplify this divine revelation. Share this video instantly with at least 5 friends who need to see this manifestation of hope and love. Together, we spread the light.